In this week's edition of 2 Minute Tuesday with Hundon Valley Homes, we're going to look at rent to buy. Now, we're going to look at what it is, how it can work for you as vendors or buyers alike, and if it's a suitable option for you when considering to either buy or sell your property here in Spain. So welcome to this week's edition of 2 Minute Tuesday with Hundon Valley Homes. Now, many clients have heard of rent to buy, but they're not entirely sure what it is. There's a huge amount of confusion between rent to buy and buy to rent, which is a completely different prospect. So in the next couple of minutes, I hope to add a degree of clarity. Now, firstly, buy to rent is an entirely different proposition. With buy to rent, you're essentially purchasing a property in a conventional manner with the end goal of renting it out to make some money. With rent to buy, we are essentially taking a standard sales contract and stretching it in terms of timeline. A rent to buy contract is a standard sales contract, but rather than the completion being 6 or 8 weeks in advance, the completion will be set at perhaps 10 or 12 months in advance. And this extension is the rental section of the rent to buy contract. A rent to buy contract is a standard sales contract with a few additions. Now, as I've just mentioned, the completion date is normally extended, and between the sale date and the agreed completion date, the purchaser will pay a monthly rental, and this payment, which along with the deposit, will be deducted from the agreed sale price. So I'm going to give you an example here. If we take a villa for €150,000 on a rent to buy contract, there will be a 20% initial deposit, which is €30,000, and a monthly payment of €10,000, say over the next 10 months. This means that the purchaser at the end of the rent to buy section of the contract will have paid €30,000 deposit and €10,000 in rental fees, which comes to €40,000. Now, if the buyer completes the sale, they will go to the notary, €150,000 sale price, they will deduct off it the €30,000 deposit, the €10,000 in rental, and they will pay the €110,000 balance. The house is theirs. Now, it's very important to remember that at the end of the contract, if you do not purchase the property, you will forfeit, in the example, €40,000 that you have paid, and that is paid as compensation to the owner for having taken the property off the market. I think the answer to this is totally dependent upon your circumstances. If the property that you have for sale is your main abode, or you need the money to fund your next property, then I would suggest maybe it's not a great idea. You're going to have to move out of the property and maybe rent something else yourself. So it will be a false economy unless your only objective is the sale of the property itself. During the duration of the rental portion of the contract, the property is still legally yours and you still own the property, and the transfer only takes place at the notary at the end of the contract. You're still going to be liable for things like buildings insurance. However, the buyer will take over contents insurance, utilities, IBI, Basura, taxes, etc. By listing your property as a rent to buy, you're increasing the potential of selling it because you're going to put it in front of more people. It's quite a complex issue, so if you would like me to explain it at greater detail, please drop me a line and I'll be happy to speak with you. Now, the rent to buy contract was designed to give more flexibility in sales contracts for potential buyers. Now, we tend to find that we use these contracts mostly when a client comes for an area tour and then they accidentally fall in love with a property, but they can't purchase it at the moment because of financial, tax or work reasons, and they maybe can't move to Spain for another 12 months. This style of contract gives the purchaser the flexibility of purchasing today, but with a much smaller outlay, and then completing in 6, 8, 12 months' time. It's worth remembering, however, that during the rental period of the contract, the property isn't yours, so you're not going to be able to make any changes to it without the written authority of the owners. Also, if the pool pump breaks or the central heating breaks down, it's your responsibility as the buyer. It isn't a rental contract. Now, as a potential buyer, you'll be liable for any property taxes, insurance, and all the utilities. The most important factor for buyers is that if you don't complete the purchase of the property, you must vacate it, and you will forfeit all of the rental and deposit payments as compensation to the vendor for them having taken the property off the market. Now, rent to buy can be a hugely complex option but it can also be very, very beneficial. So if you would like to consider this as an option for purchasing, please drop me a line and I will give you more information as you require it. Also, shortly we're going to be producing a free downloadable ebook about Rent to Buy, which you're going to be able to download along with the other free ebooks in the buyer and seller sections of our website. Rent to Buy is a great option if it meets and fits the circumstances of the vendors and the buyers alike. And this is the crux, as it's not always the case, and we find that many of the properties we have aren't suitable for Rent to Buy. I think also that the word rent is confusing when we talk about these style of contracts. A name of a delayed sales contract or an extended sales contract is perhaps less confusing, and maybe don't think of the stage payments as rentals, think of them more like lease payments. I hope you found this edition of 2 Minute Tuesday with Hundon Valley Homes informative. Please be sure to email me on the details below if you've got any questions about buying or selling. Hit the subscribe button if you're watching it on YouTube, and you'll automatically be updated each time we list a new video. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next week with Hundon Valley Homes and 2 Minute Tuesday. Adios.